Good morning. Welcome to this next CRA CRACY webinar. Thank you for joining. My name is Ulrich Salzachs. I'm the project coordinator, in this case of CRACY, a project that we do together with a number of different partners, including our well-esteemed partner of today, Jim. And I'm here today together with Christoph and Jackie from Jimber. So before I introduce the two gentlemen to you a little bit further, let me just give you a little bit of background why we do this and who we are. CRACY is a project collaboration together with a number of cybersecurity companies and a series of public authorities really there to support the CRA, which is the Cyber Resilience Act, under the motto of Cyber Resilience Act Made Easy. On our website, which probably you found, you can have different pieces of instruments, background documentation and information, white papers that we are about to publish, and a series of tools. The tools and the instrumentation are there to really support the understanding of CRA, but equally so to facilitate things like security measures and assessments of compliance towards CRA. So one of the first things that you should be doing when you are considering CRA for your products with digital elements, we call them, is really the mechanism which is called, in this case, a PD assessment tool. But there's also some additional security technologies that we will be talking about a little bit later on. So the main goal for CRACY is to help out companies in getting their products with digital elements to become secure and to become also compliant to the CRA. It's a group of 12 leading European cybersecurity organizations, and I'll show in a second this one, which they are. So there's a number of cybersecurity experts, such as Jimber, but equally so people from Toreon, people from Resilient, CU. We have a couple of specific academic institutes and research institutes like VB and IDELA, and then the partners from LCC Romania are there really to make the connection to policy-making department and European Commission itself to facilitate also that this message comes further across. Other partners such as Positium, Exit, NoCodex are there really also to support the technology developments with slightly different perspectives. And then we have Timex, of course, our fundamental partner doing the legal consultations and also the legal guidance as our general counsel for you, in this case, in relation to everything on CRA. And then finally, ourselves as being the project coordinators, also a consortium of, in this case, different cybersecurity companies from around the world. In very short, CRACY has been developing quite a number of tools and capabilities, which we are continuing to do so. The project runs for 3 years, and we are more or less midterm right now. So the project will close before actually the CRA will start really having its effect into the market when it comes to new products being launched. But having said that, the CRA in itself was already launched at the end of December 2024. And it started already to become into action. So that means that products which you have today need to be secure. You don't have to immediately prove that they are secure, or you don't have to follow all of the different specific requirements, as in essential requirements, documentation requirements, and vulnerability requirements. But you should be working towards those, definitely for products with digital elements that you are planning to put on the market in Europe by December 2027. Couple of other dates, maybe just to further notify this, are September 26, when you have to be able to already report if vulnerabilities are known to either yourself or basically from the companies that you have as customers that do a notification. So those vulnerabilities have to be reported, in this case, to ENISA through a centralized platform that is under development. So we're here really to do a number of those different things. Besides the toolings, the white papers, the guidance, we actually can also support you as a company which is developing a PDE by, in this case, getting into an interaction and seeking ways how we can actually also facilitate this, as in we help understanding what type of product you have, and we understand also which things that need to be done in your case specifically, making your product ready for, in this case, the CRA. So we will go into a consultation mode that will be free of charge on a series of selected manufacturers. We aim for small and medium-sized manufacturers from Europe that are planning to develop, or which are developing, in this case, their products. But it could also be importers and distributors or other economic operators when it comes to products with digital elements. As you can see, we have quite a reasonable list of webinars planned. So today we'll have 2. After this one, there will be another one together with the partners from Torion on risk management and threat modeling, one of the first things that also needs to be done for CRA. But with this, I'm happy to hand it over to the colleagues from Jimber to talk a bit more about the CRACY SASE. So I would say, in this case, I'll stop my screen sharing, and Jackie and Christophe, please take it away and introduce yourselves.
Okay, Ulrich, thank you for the introduction. I will introduce myself. I'm CEO and founder of Jimber. Jimber is a SASE cybersecurity vendor. And I will present what SASE is doing and how we met the requirements of the CRA and how we can make it easier to implement a CRA for small and medium sized companies. And yeah, we see that securing an environment with a lot of IoT devices is not easy on these days, and that's why we built our SASE platform, and we created especially for IoT for environments with a lot of devices. Jackie, can we go to the next slide? And what we see is it's not easy to secure these devices, and a lot of devices have a weak authentication. They still using different credentials. They are not using MFA, and there are a lot of external vendors who need to access the network, the IoT network. In a lot of environments, the devices are outdated, and it's not easy to upgrade the devices. The software is not able to run on the new systems. And in IoT devices and OT devices, we see a lot of Windows XP devices, and that's very difficult to have to get a secure environment when we still have these kind of systems in our network. One moment. And it's to secure a smaller network. It's quite easy, but to secure a complexity, a larger network, it's quite harder, especially when you have multiple hundreds of thousand devices. You need to be they need to be up to date, and it's not an easy way to do it in the right way. So that's the reason why we developed our SASE platform, especially for the CRA requirements, and it's quite easy at this point to connect to every device and to set up the process to getting everything up to date, quite automatically. Jackie, can you do the next slide? Yeah, you can present.
Yes. Oh, sorry. So, what as Christophe said, it's really a challenge to secure a lot of devices that might not also be in the same location. So you need something that can be used to secure a diverse and dispersed landscape where we work. And that is where SASE comes in, because what does it do? Well, it's cloud native. It's something that runs in the cloud, so it can be accessed, used, and it can be used to secure everything from anywhere. It has an SD-WAN foundation, so that's optimizing the connectivity for distributed environments. We use the cloud as a security controller, so it will control who will have access. It can protect from threats, and it will encrypt also the data that is sent from devices to the platform, or from devices to the platform to user. It also makes management a lot easier, as you will have a centralized platform with a visibility of all the devices that are connected. We'll get into that when we get to the demo. That will be, I'll explain a little bit more. And also, like right now, we have a lot of VPN connections out in the world. And this goes beyond that. So what I always say, SASE, to really wrap your head around it and what it does, it's a little bit VPN on steroids, you might say. That's SASE. Now, why SASE for IoT? Well, we as a vendor, as a builder of a security product, this came as a natural extension to securing regular administrative networks, right? As IoT has some specific requirements or needs towards access for suppliers and vendors that need to maintain code or need to provide updates to machines. But for that, they will need access to your network. And giving access to the network to anyone and everyone brings in and of itself risks. As usually VPNs, if they're not configured correctly, they will give access to a lot more than what you need. So SASE really gives you that possibility, or that capability to micro-segment your network, your IoT network, and only give access to the devices a user might need to do its work. So our SASE is always built around, for connectivity, SD-WAN, and for authentication, it will start from zero trust. So anyone that comes on the platform or comes into your network will have access to nothing. You will have to apply some security policies, some access management to those users, and they will be consistent across the board. So even if you are in multiple locations, there's no need in every location to set up security policies again. The platform will take care of all of it, as it is location agnostic. As Christophe also says, it's very easy to set up, so no lengthy downtimes or anything. You can just actually start rolling this out or using this alongside your infrastructure that is already there, and it will just work. So you can gradually take over and augment your security. Now, yeah, as we've already said a couple of times, IoT, it really spans multiple segments, customers, geographies. You might have a supplier that operates from the US or from China, who knows where. And those people also need connectivity to the network. Again, this is why the traditional way security was handled with firewalls, VPN, and everything is actually falling behind in securing these very specific networks. So with SASE, you can really bring that perimeter back and have more secure spaces to work in, because of its distributed design the vendor access or user access that can be really, really granular, and then you will have a micro-segmented network, so there's no one single way of entry into that network. So I've already talked about zero trust. Zero trust is the core of the SASE product. So right now, traditionally, connectivity within network or networks work with the moment you're in, you're trusted, right? The moment you are there, you will get access to maybe much more than you need, just simply by having the connection to the network and being authenticated to the network. Now, in zero trust, you will start, even if you are connected and recognized, authenticated towards the network, you will have access to nothing unless you, as the administrator, you grant that access to that specific user. So the trust is never implicit, the trust is explicit, all right? You need to grant specific permissions to specific people. We always start from the least privilege. So when you come on, I said, you get nothing. Everything gets verified what that user does. So you'll be able, with SASE, you can see if a user tries to access something he should not be accessing anyway. And we can also adjust their access based on what they need, so on the context. Yeah, that's why we really use zero trust. Now, how do you apply this this principle to IoT? Well, as said before, you can really granularly set access for external vendors, for internal maintenance or access, that if someone needs access to a specific machine, a specific PDE, that he only gets access to that one and not to 4 or 5 other ones. In case of a data breach, in case of a malefic actor on your network, that means that only one device could be compromised and not the whole network as a whole. Yeah, I think that's it, what I needed to. All right, then the security impact of zero trust. So unauthorized access is reduced to a minimum as you implement strict identity verification. And if you are not verified towards the zero trust principle, towards the permissions you have, you will be blocked, right? So even if you're on there as a malefic actor, you will not be able to do anything. Lateral movement is restricted due to microsegmentation. Yeah? So if, as said before, a actor would get access to an account from a user, he can only access resources, PDEs that user has access to, and not the whole network. So there is no lateral movement. And again, because of that, again, the breach blast radius, or the surface that might be affected, is greatly reduced. Now, also because we check every, or the system checks every action that a user does, you will have full visibility and control about what happens. All right, so that's the security impact. Also, because we see everything on the network, because we inspect all the data flows and all connections that users make, we are able to really see what is going on. We see if a user is maybe doing stuff that he should not be doing, and you are able to take action. Also, the data flow within the platform is end-to-end encrypted. So all the data that is in transit from devices to users, users to the cloud, and so on, is always encrypted and protected. Yeah. Voila. So what are the benefits of a SASE platform or the CRACY SASE platform for IoT networks? There is a high performance routing, so it is there is a failover, and it will in 99.999% of cases always work. Yeah, because it will just choose the best path. It's a very simple architecture, so no need to start implementing other solutions together, seeing how that works, how those different solutions need to work together. The platform takes care of everything, actually. And, well, it can always grow. So it's very easy to scale. You just add devices, you add servers, or you add network controllers, and so on and so forth. But I'll talk about that in the demo, that will become more clear. So we've already talked about a little bit how the attack surface is reduced, and that is because of these 4 points that we have here. We do it through the full encryption of the data, so everything is always encrypted end-to-end. The multi-factor authentication is enforced when a user logs into the platform. A user has only access or privileges to the resources he or she needs, and it's always based on identity. So it's not based on device, on MAC address or anything. It's really based on the user. Yeah, and so how does this translate to CRA essential requirements? Well, the CRA has a couple of basic requirements, which is secure by design. Well, our design is secure, as we it's always encrypted, and it's identity based. It's a protection against unauthorized access. So our zero trust policy and the strong authentication, they cover that one. Then we have the confidentiality and integrity requirement, which is covered by the end-to-end encrypted channels, and minimization of the attack surface because of the micro segmentation. So we try to meet that compliance need through the simple architecture of the platform, so that you are really secure. Voila. Then we have a couple of cases or examples from the field where we are using SASE platforms to secure IoT environments. So we have a case where there are sensors in the water that are continuously checking water quality. This data needs to move from the sensor to a centralized location, to a database. But of course, that connection used to be quite insecure, just due to the minimal capabilities of the sensor device itself. SASE was able to solve that through the lightweight, very lightweight clients, little programs we install on the sensor. We can install this on, for example, OpenWRT devices. I think maybe Teltonica might be a known brand. So we are able to deploy the platform on that, or the client on those devices. And that makes sure that all the data that is transmitted from the sensor to the platform is encrypted. So there's no access to that data stream. Only people or users that need access to the sensor are able to connect to it through the zero trust principle and the identity verification. And the company that now has this system installed can actually see across all devices what's going on. But I'll show you guys in a second how that works. Then there's also another case where there is, I think many people are familiar with a case like this, where you have multiple production plants, either geologically centralized still, but in different buildings, or really geographically dispersed. Now, how to make sure that people can still access those production plants in a safe way? Well, here SASE, the SASE platform, plays a critical role, where you can, with the microsegmentation, really granularly decide who gets access to which device. Yeah, user, he or she identifies with its account, has multiple factor authentication. Every time he or she logs in, the connection is temporary. Yeah, you can even give a user or an external technician, you can give that a connection for example, a day or 2 days, and afterwards that user, his connection is no longer possible. The system will block it unless you, as an administrator, grants again the access. So it's not one connection gets made once and it's always there. We have built in those time limits if needed. And of course, you always have a monitoring and logging for what's going on, what that user is doing, what is he or she accessing. So this is something that runs in a couple of production companies that have seen really a augmentation security for external vendors. So external vendors that need access for maintenance on certain machines, they see really the benefit of and for sure the benefit of the temporary connections, for example. This is also being used to secure retail devices, so points of sale, the POS systems in stores and stuff. We are able to also secure those connections that go from the POS to databases, from POS to payment terminals. These are also even possible to be secured. You do need a little device at that point, but we are able to secure those points as well. Again, someone who would have access through a point of sale in a store, if you have multiple stores, like retail chains have multiple stores, you could compromise sometimes network from one store. You could jump over to the general network of the chain and then move up that way. Because of the SASE platform, because of the microsegmentation and the end-to-end encryption, again, that is impossible to do, and the actor can only affect locally the network. Voilà. And then, yeah, why would you really need to consider this this product, this new approach to security? Well, it's secure by default, so you have the encryption end to end, you have the identity-based authentication, and always the least privilege principle or the zero trust principle built in. It's very, very easy to scale. Yeah, it can scale indefinitely. You can just keep on adding anything you want to secure, and it really, so as again, it really operationalizes zero trust, or it really puts that into practice. And I think with that we are at the end of the presentation. Some key takeaways. So IoT environments, they have structural security gaps that needs to be addressed. SASE unifies those networking and security necessities into one scalable platform, where that is always built in the architecture. The zero trust principle that we implement is there to really protect the system. So it's based on explicit trust. There is no trust that is assumed. So you could say, like, even if I know you, I still don't trust you, and I will only give you access to what you need. And then the SASE actually really does help you to be in line or be to cover the CRA essential requirements, or at least a couple of those, like encryption, identity checks, least privilege, and minimal exposure. So with that, we are halfway for the webinar, and I think it's time for a demo. So let me just switch to another screen, and I will go through a demo of the platform, which should be very interesting for everybody. So this is the platform. On this platform, you have a dashboard, and the dashboard will show you an overview of user devices, of PTEs or products with digital elements, and network controllers. As this is a demo, everything is inactive, but it does allow me to show you the whole platform. Below, we have the recent activity trail, and you can see that I've been hard at work to give this some data. You can see that users have been updated, PTE has been updated, and so on and so forth. If you want to see everything, there is a completely recent activity or complete table with all of the actions that have been done on the platform. Now, you might notice that the table cuts off at the 18th and there is no more data. This does not mean that this has only been created today, but due to because this might get entries over 100,000 entries, and it's not that interesting to go through them all at once or see them in this list. They are hidden away, and you only get a view of the activity of the last month or so. So here in this table, in the monitoring recent activity, I will show you where you can find this in a second as well. You can see all the actions. So this is the first thing you see when you get to the platform, which is a small summary. Then underneath we have company information. In the company tab, we can add users. How do we add users? Well, we just simply create a new one. We will say, for example, this is my technician, Tech John, and Tech John, he works for myself. He works for myself. So I will add him to the platform, and now I can also attribute him to a group or not. If I just create John right now, Tech John can connect to the network, but he has zero access to any of our resources. Yeah. To give him access to our resources, I need to attribute him to a group. So if, for example, all right, Tech John, today you need to work on the machines for our supplier, number supplier 3. Well, I will add you to that group. Oh, I will save that. And now Tech John can only access the PDEs or the resources that are in the group for supplier 3. Now, how do we know what's in group for supplier 3? Well, we can simply go to groups. We can click on the group, and there we can see so who is a member of this group, who can access the devices, the resources that are in that group, which is the technician from the supplier itself and our technician John. At this point in time, there is no single resource that is attributed to this group. I would like to do this with all of you together so you see how that works. So right now there's nothing. So let's attribute some PDEs to that group. So we go to devices, and then in devices we go to PDEs, and here we have, just as example, we have PLC1, PLC2. Let's add PLC1 to a group for supplier number 3, for example. We save it again. And now if we go back to the groups and we click on the group 3, we will see that the PLC number 1 has been attached to this group. So that would mean that the tech from supplier 3 and tech John from ourselves, from us, has access to this device. Now we need one more thing to really enable this connection, and that is a group traffic rule. So we can even decide how these users will connect to the PDEs, and then we go into security, we go to group traffic, and then we can create a new rule. In this rule, we'll just say, okay, group supplier, it was supplier 3, can connect to anything that is for supplier 3. These ports, 8080, so the start and end point, they are default ports, but you guys yourself can decide which ports you want to use, if that is something that you have a policy around. We will submit the rule. Oh, it changed it itself already to a different port. This is also something that the system can do. So if it sees that certain ports are in use, it will take another port if you have not filled in anything yourself. And now when we go to the group in supplier 3, we can see that our users, they can connect through to PLC number 1, to the PDE, through this rule, which is everyone from supplier 3 to all the devices that are in supplier 3, and they go from they will connect through these ports. So that is basically how you could attribute users, how you can create groups and make it possible for your users to, or even external users in this case, to reach different PLCs and resources within the company. So this is for, I showed you guys just how to add a user. Maybe it's also interesting, like how do we decide which users we can make? Because when I made a user, you saw there was a drop down where we can have the domain. When creating your company, you should always add some domains so you can use add users to your company. This can be as many as you want, as many as you need, but we do always advise to keep it to the strictly necessary. And specific domains, so not a at Hotmail or at Gmail or anything. Please do use very specific domains that will only augment your security, will benefit your security. On the user side, yeah. So basically, that was how you add users, how to add a PLC, how do you add, how do you enable the connection. There is something very interesting to tell still about users. We have a toggle for secure mode. Right now, this user is not in secure mode as the toggle is not enabled. But if we enable secure mode up, only traffic from the CRACY SASE sources, so other resources that also have security mode enabled, will be allowed. All right, it will enhance your security, as the model says, as notification says, but do make sure that the resources that user then needs still are reachable. So let's not enable that for now. But you can do the same for PDEs. Also here, you put them into secure mode, you will get the same notification. And as said, so if you were to turn this on, if you enable this, and you don't enable it with users, the users will not be able to connect. So if for some reason a actor is able to breach this system, you never know, could happen, and he just adds users, but he doesn't put them in secure mode, he still does not get connection to any of your resources. A token here is provided so you can connect your PTE you've imported here on the with the specific machine that it is. So that's the token you need. That's not easy. Then yes, as said, monitoring. So you can see the activity. You can see that we have just now we have updated the PDE, we have updated the user, we have created the user, and so on and so forth. So you can always see it. If I were to delete a user, let's delete Tech John again. Up. This will also show up in the audit trail in the monitoring. So with a little detail if needed. A full documentation on the platform can be found here. So you click on and you get all of the necessary technical documentation for the platform. Then on what platforms are available for DAO? Where could you use this for the moment? Well, we have clients for Windows, Apple, Ubuntu, and Ubuntu Server, or any sort of Linux versions. And if really required, we can provide other clients for other operating systems as well. But these are not just available, so upon request. And I think with that, I am at the end of my demo and explanation. So yeah, I think that's it for us.
Thank you very much, Jackie. I will also open up the floor for questions, and there are a couple of questions that have been raised, and I think that Christoph has been answering them, so I think that's more or less okay. So I'll just finish up with a couple of final closing notes then, just pointing out where people can find also other resources, in this case from CRACY. Those include, for instance, the different white papers that we have next to the SASE tool in itself. This gives you a bit more guidance on where the CRA in this particular case is. So once you've done the additional cybersecurity improvements, for instance, through the SASE, that will be definitely a helpful one. It will help you out in a number of the essential requirements, like in this case, Jackie was already showing, but also giving you some additional support on which other types of requirements that might be needed for both essential requirements as well as documentation of vulnerability. So also you can, of course, continue to follow with the different webinars that we organize. If you really want to double check your PDE, you can access it through pde.cracy.eu. So that's the URL written here on top, pde.cra-cy.eu. And that will ask you a couple of questions to figure out whether your product is a PDE. The important thing is that this is really the first step that you have to take care of. So if you're not sure that your product is a PDE, and you can test it by using a couple of these questions. And if you get the answer, well, it's not a PDE, well, then you basically get a confirmation via PDF that you can store and say, okay, I've done this analysis, and according to the basic rulings, it means that our product is not a PDE. However, if it is confirmed as a PDE, you'll get this message, and then there are some recommended actions for you to follow. But again, the point could be that you can simply reach out to us and ask us for additional assistance. So do get in touch in this case, and we'll be happy to support you further along with identifying which specifically PDE category that your product is falling under. Class 1, Class 2, critical, or just general types of PDEs. We can help you identify what specifically needs to be done when it comes to essential requirements. Probably you have already done a number of things, but maybe some things might not be as clear. Or maybe, in this case, some things could be a bit dubious. So we'll help you to get some more clarity on this. There's, of course, also the support that we can give you when it comes to the risk assessment, which is required to identify the cybersecurity measures that have to be taken place. And then we can, of course, also guide you with some of those cybersecurity implementations that are needed to get to the essential requirements at least. When, in this case, you want to take it a step further and also want to, in this case, provide conformity assessments to this, which might in some cases be needed based upon the types of PDEs that you have, then we can help you, guiding you through that process and making sure that everything is done. Don't forget that in this case, CRACY has only a limited time to do that. So if you are considering this, don't wait too long and really act now. At this point in time, while we are recording this webinar, there is an opportunity still also to get financial support for this, but that ends at the 29th of March. That's through a mechanism called Secure, a website called Secure for SME. And you'll find that also through the CRACY website in any case, the necessary links. And that can offer you an additional 30,000 euros in financing for your CRA compliance projects. There will be subsequent calls after this, so you're of course very free to join in at a later point in time as well. But again, so we'll be these things will only be for a limited time, so don't wait too long. The main point is to start today with a couple of steps, and then seeking you through something which is probably going to take you a couple of months in any case to finalize. Of course, also depending on the technical requirements and the necessity of your products with digital elements. With this, I do very much thank you for your participation and interest, and we hope to see you very soon, potentially in our next webinar. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.